Right now, I'm standing at the old railway station that served the area of Tel Aviv and Yafo. And I thought after my posting 3 weeks ago, where I spoke about the founding of the city of Tel Aviv, I was so shocked by the response of many people, and I can only assume that they're just not familiar with the history. They've just been fed a lot of propaganda. But the fact of the matter is that all one needs to do is do a simple Google search or look on Wikipedia or any other of the outlets. You'll find that the accurate and full history of the founding of Tel Aviv is listed there and is exactly as I stated it, that the city of Jaffa was certainly a mostly Arab population city, but it wasn't controlled by Arabs. There was no country that was identified as being Arab. In fact, in the 1900s, the city was under the rulership of the Ottoman Empire, which is a Turkish empire. They had governed over this area for about 400 years by that time, and only lost control after World War I when the whole region was taken over by the British and the French as part of their spoils from World War I. But even if you go before that, you find that this area was never an Arab area. It was under a series of different rulers, going all the way back to not only the fall of Israel to the Romans, but it was occupied by the Byzantines. And when the Muslims came here, we talk about the Crusades, but there's something called a Crusade, which means the expansion of the Muslim crescent or their control over all of these areas, forming one of the largest land empires in the world. And that lasted for 1,400 years. This area was a Christian Byzantine area when the Muslims came in, and they forcibly conquered it. It was taken back by the Crusaders for about 100 years, and then it returned after Saladin's victory over the Crusaders in about 1100 AD. But the whole point is that up until that time, from 1100 all the way up until 1918, this whole area was under the control of Muslims. The Jews who moved here started moving in the 1880s because of persecution in Eastern Europe. They literally bought land from Turkish landowners, which was nothing else but beachfront and was considered to be wasteful ground. It had no commercial value to anybody. And they built their city literally on the sand. Now you can see the high rises all around me, but these things were built long before this whole conflict between Israel and the Arab countries even began. And if you want to talk about colonialism, it was the Israelites who really fought off the British colonialists and really allowed there to be a chance for this land to be free. The territories were divided by the UN in 1948, and part of it was given to Israel, a small portion. The rest was given to the Arabs to form a new country. They came up with this idea of a two-state solution, but the Arabs wanted nothing to do with it. In fact, they invaded immediately after Israel became a nation. Jordan took over this entire territory, and it became part of Jordan, not Palestine. And Jordan didn't want to give it up. And the same thing is true in the south with Egypt taking over territories. So they were under Jordanian authority and under Jordanian control. And it wasn't until the invasion by the Muslim countries in 1967, again in 73, that these territories were recaptured. And yet the position of the Arab countries was what they called no, 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 the three no's. They would not make peace. They would not leave off their attacks on Israel, and that they would never accept Israel as being in the land. And that has been their position going forward. So you can twist the narrative or give all sorts of various versions, but history is history. Facts are facts. Truth, even if you bury it under a pile of rhetoric, still is the truth and eventually will come to the surface. Even this railroad that we're looking at right now was built by a Jewish company who wanted to connect the city of Jaffa, where many of the immigrants were coming to Israel, up to Jerusalem in the north. That's what it's built by Jews to help Jews move from landing in Jaffa, going all the way up to Jerusalem to be resettled. So, like I say, what was here before? There's never been an Arab nation. There was never an Arab country. It was Jordan. It was Egypt. It was a sling of the Ottomans, before them the Byzantines, before them the Romans. But there was never, ever a Palestinian people, a Palestinian nation. It's all rhetorical propaganda, not based upon truth or reality. So I hope this clarifies for those of you who get confused by phrases like from the river to the sea, or that the Israelis stole Tel Aviv from the Arabs. The Arabs never built Tel Aviv, never owned it, never controlled it. It was purchased from Ottomans, who, by the way, the Ottomans are Turks. They're not Arabs either, nor are Egyptians Arabs. And most people don't even understand that. They don't consider themselves to be Arabs. Arabs come from Saudi Arabia. They're really the Bedouin people. So, enough information. I would encourage you to check me out and see if it's true. But I think you'll find that I'm telling you the facts and not a bunch of fiction. God bless you and go in His grace.